So, Warframe has just had its 173rd dev stream, got some great announcements, a little bit of news, and yet more controversy. So let's take a look. First and foremost, a review of the most recent Abyss of Dagath update. Rebecca mentioned the new Abyssal Beacons, which are essentially a reskin of the old Void Key system that we had, which got replaced by relics, and it's required in order to run the mission to farm the Vein Thorns in order to craft Dagath and her weapon, the Doorclave. These seem to still be under a little bit of a review, and by the sounds of it, sound like more of a test to return key share type systems. I would like to point out that Rebecca did say specifically,
if we ever do content that requires pre-mades, we need to flex those muscles a little systems-wise.
Which could be indicative of DE looking towards returning content such as raids, which did actually require the key system, but we shall see. DE are also very happy with the companion rework and how well that's been received, and are looking to add a few more buffs in the coming week. I personally can't wait. There is still a part 2 to come next year, which will come with changes to preset mods, make them more effective, and balance out the Sentinels and the Sentinel weapons a bit, because there's apparently some clear winners, which I could definitely see. The Hellstrom, for example, is a very, very obvious choice when you're picking a Sentinel. All in all, the companion rework has definitely been fantastic, and I really can't wait to see the results for part 2. Hydroid was touched on extremely briefly. I must emphasize extremely briefly. Pablo mentioned there was confusion about the ability descriptions not matching what the ability does. I personally haven't seen any complaints like this, but re-looking at the ability descriptions, I can certainly see where the confusion might lie. He had then mentioned seeing suggestions of adding the puddle to his crouch. That's not a great way to re-implement puddle, but there is no mention of simply doing a tap hold on Hydroid's second for keeping puddle. Pablo had said that keeping puddle is a lot of stuff to maintain for a meme. As I did mention in my Hydroid review, puddle was definitely much more than a meme. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but it definitely could work in certain builds and certain situations. Rebecca did bring up a good point. If Undertow already worked and you could just put it in Helminth, you know, why not? I don't think putting Undertow in Helminth is a good plan in all honesty, and I understand Pablo's point that game development is basically a very fickle beast. Rebecca's point that Undertow already works is certainly a good one to consider for the tap hold solution. As of recording this, it's been 2 days since the dev stream, and there has actually been a lot of talk going around on the forums and a little bit on Reddit and here and there that it doesn't sound like DE has listened to any of the feedback that has been given about Hydroid and some of the suggestions about changing Plunder and adding Puddle to the second ability. None of this was actually mentioned during the dev stream, so we don't actually know if they have seen it or not, or if they have taken any of it on board. We'll just have to bide our time and kind of wait and see what happens. So now we get on to some of the new news. The Gotva Prime that was a Twitch drop from TennoCon is being re-added into Barrow Katir's inventory, who's going to be coming on November 3rd. So on November 3rd, when he shows up, the Gotva Prime will be in Barrow's inventory and could appear in future appearances. Plaguestar is 100% confirmed to be returning on November 7th. It's confirmed as well that fully built Forma is still going to be a purchasable reward. I am super excited. Plaguestar is a fantastic event, it's very interactive, and DE are making some really good quality of life changes to combat the matchmaking and leeching situation that Plaguestar was plagued with. For anyone who has never played or seen Plaguestar before, the long and short is that a giant infested cyst has crash landed on the plains of Eidolon, and the Tenno must work to mix up antitoxins and fight off the cyst. Doing the bounty for Plaguestar will provide players with what's called operational standing. This standing is used for the operational syndicate with Nakak in Cetus, and allows you to purchase various rewards such as Plaguesaw pieces, the Exodia Arcanes, and fully built Forma. Yes, fully built, ready to use, out of the box, plug and play Forma. Previously with Plaguestar, players would want to craft Infested Catalyst, which you get from your biolab in the dojo, and Eidolon Phylaxis, which you can receive as a purchasable reward during the event. Both of these would need to be in your gear wheel as well while you're running the event, and then during the mission, when you're mixing up the antitoxin, you would then need to use them. So players would need to select the Eidolon Phylaxis and Infested Catalyst from your gear wheel, and up to 4 for the whole squad can be used in a single run. Players who were wanting the max standing per run would, throughout their whole squad, need to use 4 Eidolon, Phylaxis, and 4 Infested Catalyst at a time. And this sometimes led to other players not contributing at all and expecting their squad mates to use all of the Eidolon, Phylaxis, and Catalyst required, which really didn't feel very good. Now, however, Plague Star will be split into 3 bounties. We'll have a normal version, or a tier 1, that requires no Phylaxis or Catalyst to run at all, and it doesn't use them up. An advanced or a tier 2 version that will use up 1 Phylaxis and 1 Catalyst from your inventory, meaning that there's no need to have them in your gear wheel anymore, you just have to own them. And a Steel Path version, or a tier 3, which is simply the tier 2 version, but it's in Steel Path. So you will still need the Phylaxis and the Catalyst to run the tier 3. We don't know if the standing values that we saw on the dev stream are final. It looks a bit odd because the tier 1 and the tier 2 have the same standing amount, so it's either that these values aren't final, or maybe that the tier 2 version actually provides you with more standing at the end of the mission because the Catalyst and Phylaxis have actually been used. We don't know. So Whispers in the Wall, there was quite a lot spoken about, but there's also like not a lot spoken about. DE are adding a new fog rendering system, which marks the retirement of the old classic renderer, so we're only going to be able to use the enhanced renderer from then on. There's going to be some changes to skin texturing for operators and drifters, so specifically darker tones, because the darker tones currently look very plasticky and like doll-like, but the new ones, however, are definitely going to look a lot better. They do fall down that uncanny valley a little bit, but it is a massive improvement. There was some Whispers in the Wall concept art that was shown and spoken about. We're told that this little guy, or apparently quite a big guy, is codenamed Slinky. Slinky, though, is apparently not a very appropriate name for him now, as Pablo mentioned. Calling him Wheel is more in line with how he moves, so perhaps the hands like clasp together and he turns into like a hollow wheel and rolls around, which would be pretty funny to see. There was some Warframe 1999 Infest concept art showcased. Not much to go off of, but we can confirm that this is in fact Infestation in Warframe 1999. It's a little strange with the lore that we know of the Infestation, so we'll see how that plays out. One of the biggest announcements, however, was news on Gargoyle's Eye, a new operation or event revolving around clans. This is the first clan-orientated event since Orphic's Venom. We know that dojos are going to be involved, and they've taken solo and large clans into account, as they usually do when they do dojo things. There will be clan goals, it's going to be very lore-centric, and likely they're not going to do any leaderboards whatsoever this time. Rebecca did say that they were planning on dropping this event a day or a week after Whispers in the Wall. I certainly think that this is a little bit too early for an event after a big major update like this, so 2 weeks might be a better shout. Hopefully they do stagger it so players have time to digest the new content in Whispers in the Wall, and then the event comes in pretty soon after that. Not mentioned at all during the dev stream, it does appear that we are going to be getting a new Warframe called Korvax with Whispers in the Wall. No news on that, so everything is just speculation until something official drops. Sevagoth's Deluxe was talked about. It's called the Glaucus, and I really can't wait. It's got a whole load of things with it. There's new models for Sevagoth and his shadow naturally. There's an Epitaph Deluxe going to be coming, and even a tombstone for when his passive triggers. Also, while you're in ghost mode, there's going to be a more piratey version of the Cold Below that will play if you have your music slider turned up. That's really cool. It sounds great. I actually can't wait. However, the main reason to get this skin bundle is this adorable little fella, Gillychap. No armor piece in the game compares to Gillychap. Gillychap is life. Prime access will be changing in the future as cross-save nears. DE are having to tie up some loose ends with the market and monetization stuff, as you would expect. So to that end, Prime access will be changing to a more console-type version. Currently, PC have 4 packs to choose from, and console currently only has 2. So going forward, as it sounds, we're going to have 3 packs instead. We're going to have 1 for the frame, 1 for our Prime access, and 1 for a fully combined bundle. This seems to be kind of a strange choice, given the entire heirloom pack situation that we just recently had. DE are going to be removing an option out of Prime access, and then standardizing it across all platforms. Given that the contention with the heirloom pack situation was the inclusion of Regal Aya, and the lack of options, DE taking an option away from Prime Access seems pretty counterintuitive to what they were trying to say of lessons learned. But we don't know the ins and outs. It could be a licensing thing, it could be something to do with compatibility on platforms. However, we do need to keep in mind that there are 3 console systems, all with the same type of Prime Access, and PC is the only one that has 4 options currently. So this could just be a much easier way to change everything all at once and have it all work together. Briefly mentioned as well was account merging. While not fully confirmed to be happening, it is something that DE are looking into. The last and biggest piece of news is story skip. Oh boy. This is a very, very hot topic right now, and very rightly so. Long and short, adding a feature in-game that you pay for with Platinum, with Whispers in the Wall, you skip all of the required main story quests to play Whispers in the Wall, and you also unlock all of the features involved, such as Railjack, Arcwing, and Operators, handing the player tons of endo, credits, mods, and other resources, and just boosting them straight to the point where they can play Whispers in the Wall, with the idea to allow new players to jump straight into the new content day one. This was met with a lot of negative feedback, with Rebecca responding,
"Well, I kind of expected that, so we'll have to think of a way to do it."
Which personally isn't a great sign, though did follow up saying that they will have to reconsider aspects of it. I must make it apparent, Rebecca did say if they do it, so it's not set in stone that it will be a feature. I'll go more into story skip and its implications in another video, as there's a lot to break down with the pros and cons of such a feature, and alternate methods that DE could implement instead that would hopefully reduce some of the cons and negativity involved. That is everything from Devstream 173. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you do like these sorts of recaps, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Check out the Twitch where we stream and talk about Warframe, and I'll be seeing you for now.